What is good, people? This is episode 58. This is Sports Debate Tuesday, and the episode starts right now. You know, since we were reciting this or chanting this, I guess I got to do it the white guy way. Hater the loveth the underdogs on top. And I'm going to shine, homie, until my heart stops. Envy me? I'm Rap's MVP. I ain't going nowhere so y'all could get to know me.
Old school 50.
Yes, yo, listen, it's all about underdogs this weekend. Muhammad cowboyed up, got poked in the eye, but took the fight last minute, so good for him. I don't think there's going to be a rematch with that. That's the UFC. We're going to talk about some of these ridiculous fouls. Doha, man. FIVB, beach volleyball wheelhouse, man. The American team's really cowboyed up, and you know I'm tired of crapping on them. I'm a USA guy because I sound like such a hater, but it's only because I want the best. And I guess I'll save some of that for that subject matter. To shame and not to shame, Clippers get blown out. We're gonna talk about these Duke alumni. We got a quick question. Of course, it's Women's History Month, so we're gonna. This is another week where we salute a particular woman in sports. That I guess rubbed us the right way. But Rob, first things first. Hot off the press, we pre-record this a couple hours before Tuesday on Monday night. So Drew Brees has announced his retirement. Drew Brees has hung up his spurs as a Saints football quarterback. Drew Brees, who got recruited to play for the San Diego Chargers, had some ups and downs. I remember him getting benched by Doug Flutie, man. I'm just glad he was able to get out of there. But Drew Brees retires from football. We're going to talk about a little off the field and on the field stuff. But my favorite quote, and he has a lot of things about his retirement, like these long speeches and these social network things. My favorite one is, I am not retiring from New Orleans. I'm retiring from football. I am not retiring from New Orleans. This is not goodbye, rather a new beginning. Now, my real life's work begins. Rob, your thoughts on Drew Brees' retirement and reflection of his football career?
Well, one of the probably the highest level quarterbacks throughout their entire quarterback career, I would have to say. Even a guy like Peyton Manning, he played like a really good high level early on in his career. But, I thought Drew Brees from day one was, not MVP caliber, but, right up there. He was in the Chargers for a lot of seasons. And the Chargers organization isn't it's a good organization, but it's not known for winning championships, So I think he spent a lot of years there trying to help build with them as well as, get a championship. And then when he came to the Saints, I thought they would have won a couple Super Bowls, to be honest, with him and Sean Payton there, up until the whole, what was it called? Bounty Gate. That was, I thought that they were, one of the hottest teams, probably the hottest they've ever been, from now, let's say, until that period. It's just, I think as highly decorated as his career is, I feel like, and it's weird to say because I feel like a lot of people say that he's overrated, but I feel like his career is a little underrated. I think he could have done so much more, whether it was not being injured so much, and that could be from not taking so many hits earlier on in his career. Whether it was maybe playing some better football when he was a little older. I just thought that there were certain things that he could do with his career that would have just catapulted him into one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time. Because I don't think there's anything really holding him back. He had teams that are willing to build around him. He had, all the positive, press and great things going for him for his whole career. So, I love Drew Brees. I just look at his career. I look back and, if it would have been perfect, I thought he could have been one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. So, but great, props to him for playing for so long. all the records that he's created, and will probably be broken sooner than later. But I still think he's, especially now, he's in the top 10 quarterbacks of all time for me. So yeah, he's one of the greatest.
That's cool because that was actually going to be one of the follow-up questions. Where do you rank him, like as far as best quarterbacks of all time? And I definitely have him somewhere at the end of the top 10. I mean, I won't make the illogical leap to 5, and I don't want to name other quarterbacks because timing it would be really crappy in light of the fact that we're celebrating this man's retirement instead of saying he wasn't this guy, he wasn't that guy. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to read it again. I'm only retiring from football. I'm not retiring from New Orleans. This is not goodbye, rather a new beginning. Now my real life's work begins. And to me, he influenced himself as a human being in New Orleans before he even took the football field. If you remember the whole Hurricane Katrina thing, right? And he came in there and they didn't even have a stadium. weren't even playing in a stadium. Him and whatever. And his philanthropy, of course, off the field is well documented. I mean, you don't see him taking too many pictures with a big check, but you know enough about the guy that he puts the capital C, as far as caring in New Orleans. So, so all the work he did before they even got their first home game, and all the fans be like, yo, if this guy balls out with all the stuff he's putting into the city, if he actually balls out, we're gonna have a statue of him. Boom, game 1, Atlanta Falcons against Michael Vick. Man, performing just behind. I've had a little help from special teams, Reggie Bush returning a punt for a touchdown. And the thing I could say about his career, he has done everything he needed to do as a quarterback to win. You might have this discussion between him and Peyton Manning, who's better. Look no further than head to head, right? They played each other in a Super Bowl. Manning balled out, Brees balled out. They both did their part, and I think the only difference in that Super Bowl was Sean Payton had pair of balls between his legs, did an onside kick after halftime, and they scored. And then Sharper, I think, returned an interception for a touchdown. So I believe they were up 24-17, but that interception for a touchdown made it 31-17 and made it look worse than it was, but it really wasn't. It was tight. But Brees is the one that put him ahead. All right, Brees right now is first in passing yards in the NFL. He has 80,358. He's first in completion, 7,000 plus, 7,142. First, Rob McLean in completion percentage with a 67.7 completion percentage. Second in touchdown passes, and only because him and Brady are still playing Brady's first, man. And it looked like neither one was going to retire, and it looked like that's going to be a race to the end, but I don't know. I guess Brady took less damage. Brady's nutrition is better, and Brady surrounded himself with just as much talent, if not better. So the one thing I want to remember about Drew Brees is he did his best. He had a lot of talent, and what he lacked in talent, he made up with fight. He was the best fighter. As far as quarterbacks are concerned, I mean, I put Brady up there too, and Russell Wilson, but he's one of the best fighters. As far as fighting through adversity and keeping his team up. His pregame speeches are right? Because sometimes you see someone on the line or like the biggest mouth doing these leadership speeches. Man, that dude is in there just savaging it up. So the thing I want to remember about him is that he did his best. And the only thing that he did better than football on the field was be a good human being off the field. They're neck and neck with each other. You could pick a day. So congratulations to this man on a very long and storied career. And he was very snake bitten from competing in more than one Super Bowl. If you remember, there was an obvious pass interference call in the red zone where he had an opportunity to score and beat I don't even remember who it was, but Falcons. A travesty. And then, of course, the miracle in Minnesota. So he's been snake bitten by these little miracle plays that work against him. And I have to say that, Rob, because you as an elite athlete knows that you win championships on talent and good preparation. But when you're against someone who's just as evenly matched as you're going to need a break here and there, right? Tom Brady, that first Super Bowl, right? I mean, there was a tuck rule that allowed him to get past the Raiders. The Raiders win that game without that call. So sometimes you get a little help from your friends. Sometimes the ball bounces a certain way, and we love the way the football is
Very
shaped,
true.
right? Everywhere around, it wouldn't be fun. Yeah, yeah. And I love that you answered that question. He is in the top 10. He is at the edge of the top 10. I can't think of 9. I can think of 5 or 6, but I can't think of 9 quarterbacks. When I say, and you know what I'm talking about when I say quarterbacks. We didn't say who's the best thrower in the game, right? That's probably Dan Marino. We didn't say who's the most mobile quarterback in the game. You look back at Michael Vick. You look at Steve Young. You know, give shout to the white guys that can run. Damn, I'm racist today. But yeah, as far as quarterback leadership, the ability to throw the ball, the ability to create time, understanding the situation where you don't have to be a G, which Tom Brady is the best at. Understanding a situation, fine. I'll throw for 195 and we'll win. So here's my follow-up question before we slam the door and crack the door open on the UFC. Does him retiring possibly open this window for Russell Wilson, who doesn't seem happy in Seattle?
Oh, I don't think so, because I think the Saints knew that they were going to be without Drew Brees, whether it was this year or next year. And I think they already have a plan in place that they want to see what Taysom Hill's like, maybe draft and see what they can do this year with the quarterback position. They also have Jameis Winston, so I don't really see why they would want to change things up that massively, because you're going to have to trade more than just a trade, a sign and trade with a couple of draft picks. Like you're going to have to give a little bit more than that away. So when we're talking about the Saints, I just still don't see it as a realistic destination for me at this time.
Yeah. For those of you that don't follow football as avidly as us, Jameis Winston is part of what we call the 30-30 club in a shameful way. He's got 30 touchdowns in a season, which is pretty good, but he also matched it with 30 interceptions, 30-plus interceptions. With that being said, for the fanatic or for the casual or for everyone else in the gray or in between, if he only throws 15... he actually keeps possession of those balls, and he probably breaks whoever holds a single season record for yards passed, because Winston was lighting it up. But if he doesn't turn the ball over half the time, we're not having a discussion about who their quarterback is. It would definitely 100% be Jameis Winston, who, by the way, in the NFC Championship game was the only guy who actually threw a touchdown pass, I think, right? Yeah.
And the other thing is, you take some of those interceptions away, you're going to add some touchdowns on top of 30, 31, 32. So it's he could be a 40 touchdown, 15 interception, a season easily if, he could just cut down those mental errors. But then again, that's the quarterback position. If you can handle not just, the offense and being off the field and come back on the field and being the same level, it's everything that comes with it. You're the primetime guy. So they're going to ask you questions, before game, after game. You got to go in there and still execute. So I'm not sure if he's totally capable of that. But just like you're saying, if he throws 20 interceptions and 40 touchdowns, it's a very doable. It's very doable.
Or even 35 and 20. You're at a 35 and 18.
Right.
Yep. So. That's football. We're going to have a lot to talk about football this month and the next month. Of course, the draft's coming up in May, I think, right? And there's a whole bunch of great prospects. I wasn't thinking about quarterbacks only outside of Trevor Lawrence, but now you look at Mac Jones, you look at some of these people, and now all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I'm looking at quarterbacks again. It's like every year, we sleeping on some of these quarterbacks, But last year, offensive linemen, right? Mekhi Becton, some of these cats that we were talking about
Tristan Wirfs.
We were talking about 300-pounders that can actually catch up to you.
In a street race, yeah, it's scary. It's scary out there.
Because I remember saying, I ain't scared of no fat dude because he can't catch me. Bye.
Chase Young.
Yeah.
4.5.
Whoosh. Mekhi Becton running backwards on the 40 against me. All right, so that's it for the NFL, at least for now. We move on to the UFC. This is topic two. Small event, house show. For the diehards like me, you know I watched every match, including the prelims. For the casuals, or for the half casuals, they probably stayed up to just watch the main event or watched it on replay on ESPN Plus. For the people who are casuals, that was the word, probably didn't even know there was an event over the weekend. The main event was Edwards versus Muhammad. And once again, Rob, we have a match that ends as a result of a foul. There was an eye poke. And when you saw the replay, man, it was balls deep in there, man. It was gross. I was like, oh God, So the question was, um, what can mixed martial arts, UFC, Bellator, whatever, right? What's the other one? PFL. What can these governing bodies do to help prevent these eye pokes, these illegal knees? Last week, you remember Aljamain Sterling won a title because of that. Also, earlier on in the night, Darren Stewart got kneed in the head by Eric Andrews, former Alabama player. You want to talk about super athlete?
Yeah, I like the way he looks. He's a good fighter.
So I'd like to go first on this. The first thing they can do is stop worrying about sponsorship when it comes to gloves. Jackson Wink, their MMA camp, they have a set of gloves that keeps the fingers curled and at the same time reaches out just far enough for the people who like to grapple. And if you go for an eye poke, the worst thing that can happen is this or this. Nothing comes out like this. If you look at what's his name, Edwards, a lot of these eye pokes, and John Jones, as you know, is the master of this, is him defending, right? And the hand comes out like this. But his is like this, and he still got the thumb to the eye. So it wasn't really, it was kind of an honest mistake. But I got two things to say, and I'm going to give you the floor. One, start looking at some of these gloves and start worrying about who the brand is. All right? That's the first thing. Jackson Wink had an idea. They got some good ideas, and Dana White should take a look at that. And then go to the athletic commission, and then the athletic commission gives a thumbs up because we ain't trying to see these matches end, and they don't make no money either. The second thing is, every time there's a foul, take a point. If it's an accident, take a point. Rob, first of all, who the hell poked someone's eye on purpose? Am I Ric Flair? Woo! No, please no. Boom! That's what he do. He go, no, time out. Boom! No, nobody's poking you in the eye on purpose. Nobody believed that Eric Andrews kneed him to the head on purpose. He might have thought he might have been grounded. Peter Yan wasn't sure. He asked his coach. His coach said need him. So that's as intentional as a knee's gonna get. But if you just start taking points, guess what? Now people are going to start fighting with their hands up. Now people are going to look at grounded opponents to make sure or whatever and this and that. Because Rob, you know what's happening, right? In the past, someone would get kneed if you know what? If I get kneed, I'm already ahead in the scorecards. And if he decides to continue, I'm gonna just F him up because he's already messed up. I'm gonna just finish him off. And it's the third thing is, let the referee call the fight. Let the referee call. Do not leave it up to the fighter, where the fighter's like, because you know how MMA fighters are, right, Rob? Then they don't want to seem like a puss. They're gonna say, yeah, I want to keep going, and eventually they're gonna lose. So don't leave it up to the fighters. If you see that man is out of it and you call the doctor in, call it. Don't. It is disingenuous for a fighter to say, I can't continue, and the fans boo the hell out of him, and he's vilified and shamed because of that. Because every fighter, 9 out of 10 fighters will say, I got to continue. The floor is yours. Is there anything in the MMA can do?
Just to piggyback on your last point, I think that that's for a lot of sports. Football with concussions, hockey, baseball, other sports with their injuries. A lot of players, they try to push through at the moment because the mentality of an athlete is that, nothing can really stop me. My mind is set on something. I'm just going to do it. And, I'm going to come out with the rewards or the repercussions after. And some things cannot go that far. Like when we're talking about concussions, you have to really, it takes a lot to step in front of a football player and say, hey, you can't step out in the field anymore. That had to be a systematic change. So, personally, to me, I feel like it's the same thing with boxing. Maybe it can be a little bit more strict with when we're talking about illegal knees and illegal strikes. But I think that becomes a really slippery slope, and I'm not saying it'll ever turn out to be the same, but I think the same thing was with the NBA back in the day where, it got too egregious with the technical fouls or with the non-technical fouls and the just regular fouls. And so they started to call a lot more of, ticky-tack fouls, and now it's a totally different type of a game. I'm not saying fighting will ever be like that, but I also don't want UFC to end up to be like, karate, where it's just you're scoring points and you're not really fighting. You're just putting a technique against a technique. So at the end of the day, I think the illegal strikes are in a good place where, if you do get a disqualification, you should lose your belt. It should be maybe a mandatory rematch. But again, that's a really slippery slope.
It's true.
But
Rob, not even a DQ. I'm just talking like just take a point. Because how many times have you seen someone warned about being poked in the eye? Someone get kicked in the nuts like 3 times in a round. He gets a warning 3 times.
So again, maybe you can do, for a more egregious fouls, an immediate point taken away. Mm-hmm. I definitely am interested in that, but just not for all fouls, because there's a lot of fouls out there, that you come across and you're not trying to for everything penalize because it slows things down. You want to keep the rhythm of the fight. But past that, I definitely agree with the gloves. I think that I actually am a little, maybe not nervous, but kind of baffled why the UFC haven't even, taken into consideration, and approving their gloves because, just like you said, maybe it's not main events, but there's been a lot of fights stopped or, in jeopardy of being stopped because of eye pokes. And I think you can't, protect for everything. You got to cut for the groin strikes. You're trying to make sure there's not 12-6 elbows, for any concussions or stuff like that. But eye pokes, I think, have been there for such a long time that it kind of, like I said, it kind of baffles me that they haven't even made an inquiry into changing the gloves. Maybe there's something wrong with it. Maybe the fighters don't like it. But at the end of the day, if it's about making money, I think they got to protect their investments.
Yeah, there's that. So very well said, Rob. Very good point as far as like not all fouls are the same, right? I mean, for me, I made this leap to just take a point regardless of it if it's intentional or not. And to me, I say take a point away because I don't care about intention, but there is something very important lurking variable you brought up, like how hard it was. Like not all fouls are the same, Darren Stewart, like that he got kicked pretty hard and he looked a little concussed, and I don't mean to make this a knee competition or anything, but it didn't look nearly as bad as Aljamain. Aljamain, I mean, I wish I could just show a video without them flagging this. He got kneed, and it looked like he was literally knocked out for 2 seconds before he got up, and it's weird. The refs got to make up their mind. If you're giving someone 5 minutes to recover, stop asking him the whole 5 minutes if you're all right.
Right.
And the fighters take some initiative. Dude, you gave me 5 minutes. Can you see? I'm not going to answer that. I'll tell you in 5 minutes. Because once a fighter says, I can't see, now that negates the 5 minutes. The ref calls it. So It's weird. And for the people who want to know the rule about MMA, the difference between a no contest and a DQ, disqualification happens regardless if it's first, second, third, fourth, or fifth round. Once a ref rules a DQ, it goes to the other guy. No contest is when it's accidental and when they rule it non-intentional, but the fighter's unable to continue, but it's inside 3 rounds. They go to no contest. a championship match, which is a fourth or a fifth round, it's not ruled to no contest. They go straight to the judges' scorecards. If it's non-intentional and the fighter can't continue. So that's an interesting fact to bring up because we seem to be in the not unintentional era. And I think between now and August, I fear this isn't going to be the last time we're going to witness illegal blows that shift the tide of the rankings. One last question, kind of rhetorical, but people are listening and they need to hear the words. Should Bilal Muhammad and them rematch this and Edwards rematch this?
Absolutely not. I think
Agreed.
it was Leon Edwards was outclassing him already. And I don't think it's really a draw for the fans. I don't think it's a draw for money. I don't really know why they did this other than to keep Leon Edwards active so that they can put him onto the next fight card.
He hasn't fought in almost 2 years. I mean, and it's probably the reason why he took it. And Bilal Muhammad, man, he's one of them dudes that picks up the phone and says yes. Man, followed Bilal Muhammad, he's not inside the top 5 or top 10, not even top 10. And maybe he deserves a number by his name because he keeps winning some of these important matches. But keep watching that guy fight because that's the guy that brings it from beginning to end, and he's entertaining as hell, man. Get to know that dude, NV me. I'm Raps MVP.
Yeah.
He ain't going nowhere.
I definitely, enjoy watching him fight. I just think that at a certain level, there's levels to this.
Yeah, there is.
When I watch,
and maybe this is the best we'll see him, right? Or maybe he's still. He's still building up or
for
whatever.
sure. And I would love to see that. But, when I looked at just from the eye test between him and Leon Edwards, which is, again, he's third, fourth best in the division by rank. But, it just looked like Leon was very calm, very relaxed, and was still outstriking him, being first in the exchanges. It was just a different level.
Who's next for Leon? Honestly, I would love for him to fight Masvidal because he got pieced up in England by him, and I'm like, Dana, UFC, how do you not make this match when these dudes got into a piece up contest off the outside of the octagon?
I mean, I think they're waiting for Kamaru Usman to maybe possibly fight Masvidal. If that doesn't happen, Gilbert Burns is right there. That would be a very interesting turnaround fight. I don't think Burns will want to fight that high level that quickly.
I wouldn't even mind if he got the title shot. The guy won 8. I think he won 8 or 10 in a row. I wouldn't even mind.
I just think that would be a disservice. And honestly, if the UFC gave him a title fight now, I think it would just be so disrespectful. Like, make him earn it, 1 or 2 fights, because no matter what, everybody has, when they're inactive, they're gonna not play. They're not gonna fight their best.
Agreed.
Whatever it is.
And activity is so important.
Yeah, well, and not even just fight their best, but fight better than their best, right? When you see the best fighters, or when you see the top level fights, it's not that we want to see what you just did last fight. It's these fighters are evolving. They're changing, they're growing, and when you're inactive that long, you're coming back from injuries, or you had COVID, or you had to get over all these different travel restrictions. All that kind of messes up that flow, and I think it's just like I said, when I saw him against Muhammad, he looked really nice and clean and calm, but it wasn't as active as usual. And that I feel like that is a part of that ring rust where you're just trying to get the feel of things. So I think he needs about 2 more fights. I think they could definitely be high-level fights, and they might be really close fights. He might lose, he might win, but as long as they're high-level, he won't lose that much rank. And, I would love to see Masvidal or Gilbert Burns. I think Masvidal is more what I'll be looking for right now.
Or Stephen Thompson. Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. Very true.
I like it. Well said, Robbie. Cool, man. All right, we killed it. MMA, got another one coming up. Main event is Derek Brunson. We'll pick a winner on that later. Brunson against Holland. But for now, we go to the FIVB beach volleyball. Rob McLean, it happened in Doha. Yo, it was quite the exciting tournament to watch, my man. Every match, you didn't have to be a USA fan and just only follow the USA matches to appreciate, like Qatar, man. Sharif and Ahmed, Man, they were killing it. Nikolai and Lupo, I thought looked good in the beginning and tapered off a little bit. Guto, Ivandro, first time partnership on a big stage. Because I don't know what the hell they're doing in Brazil. Maybe I think everyone's playing with everyone in Brazil. But first time together on the big stage.
They're saying that Bruno got COVID, so that's why he wasn't able to make it.
But first time on the big stage, they win. They win Doha. They win 4-star, and yeah. So I guess the question is, Rob, if you had to pick one match or even two, because you don't want to choose one, what was your most fun match to watch? And of course, we're going to explore our thoughts on how the USA teams performed, because I got something I want to say about that. But Rob, first question: most fun match to watch, men's or women's, regardless of country. The floor is yours, my man.
I think my favorite match is probably. Let me think. I thought that the Canada versus USA game was great. The women's final. I thought that was really high level.
Ooh, that was good, huh?
Yeah, I love to see, good high level, big women's blockers against two solid defenders, and just, a slugfest back and forth the whole game.
A true 1 versus 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so I definitely think that's a huge possibility for an Olympic final, judging that we all get to Tokyo sometime soon. And I think, honestly, that result can go anyway, anytime. Alex and April play their best ball. I don't see a lot of people coming in their face and beating them. And then same thing with Sarah and Mel. They play their best ball. I don't really see a lot of teams being able to beat them. So
and you don't see too many behind whoopings when they're facing each other. It seems like, in my mind, I don't have all of the scores the last 6 times they played each other, but in my mind, I feel like every single set is decided by 2. In fact, here's a cool picture. This is Alex Kleinman's face, and I'm gonna zoom in. Look at her eyes. Do you know why she looks like that? Because Canada was up 2019, and Pavin did a poke, line over, clean. And April was nowhere to be found. She wasn't within 10 or 15 feet of it, and it went wide. So you're down 19-20. I guess you got a line block or a 3 block or off the 1 block. Pavin pokes over, and her height. Her poke is like a dead drop. So it pokes, and it misses. And instead of it going in and Canada winning the first set 21-19, it goes out, and she goes, "Oh my God! Thank the Lord!"
Thank goodness.
Rob, my favorite match, and I followed Qatar the whole way through because I could watch Ahmed Sharif play the whole time around, and I love me some Lupo, who I think is the best defender in the world. It's just not, they just don't talk about him enough. He's a transition king too, by the way. My favorite match, I gotta go to the US of A. USA against Russia, Stoyankovich and Karishnikov. I watched it on YouTube Live, the live stream, and you wouldn't believe in the overwhelming stream of commentary written in Russian and American and English. Man, these Russians are talking so much nonsense. They're like, "Oh, the Americans are so cute," and this and that, and I'm like, I said, these motherfuckers called us cute. They want to call us cute, and they're right, because Russia's been dominating. That's the 5-star winner. They won the qualifier, and then you pick the Russians against Crab and Gibb 9 out of 10 times. I'm gonna pick the Russians, but not this time. Taylor Crab leveled up. One of the best blocking tournaments I've seen in such a long time by Jay Gibb. And that's saying a lot because they call him Jay Blocker Gibb. I can't say that I've never seen him block like this. I just can't remember the last time I've seen him block like this. And I'm only saying this because he's not herbing people in the AVP, first round main draw, some guy who just qualified 9 o'clock the night before, who's not even as talented and tired as hell. No, these are the best teams in the world. He had a good blocking game against Ivan Dronguto too as well. Unfortunately he got blocked a lot too, but my favorite match was that because Taylor, I think in his heart of hearts, knows that he ranks among the best defenders in the world. But and of course, in the South Bay, in these 5 zip codes, there's a lot of USA self-love here, and they will say he is the best defender in the world. I will not say that because I've been around the world too much, and I know better. But if I only saw that tournament, he made a liar out of me. Boy made a liar out of me. His defense, his ability to be at the right place, right time, and always touch the ball in his worst play. A perfect dig for options and transing out. Man, just looked like he was in his zone, man. It reminded me a lot of you. I mean, because I've seen defenders, back row defenders. I've seen Eric Baranek do this. He'll get like digs and you know in your heart of hearts when you're watching a game, every time this person gets a dig, you know he's gonna get the kill. I've seen you do that. I've seen Baranek do that. I've seen Nick Lucena. We've seen him do that his whole career. Todd, we've always seen these games where you're like, as soon as he got the dig, you're like, all right, he got the kill. he got that point. He got that point. And the semifinals, him and Guto jousting. It was the battle of the best defenders in the world. And I had a voting poll. I put a voting poll out between Lupo, Guto, and Taylor Crabb. Who is your pick out of the 3? Because I didn't include Nick and like everybody else, and everybody else who are probably better defenders, right? Like I didn't put Christian Sorum, but I said between Guto, Lupo, and Taylor Crabb, who do you like as the best back row defender out of the 3 of them? And the votes are still coming in, but it's overwhelmingly for Taylor Crabb. Great match. Your thoughts about how the USA represented in Doha? You got April and Alex winning the gold. You have Crabb and Gibb beating Phil and Nick for the bronze. So now you got one medal per gender. Kalinsky and Stockman, flirting with getting on the podium. They lost to the Brazilians. They lost to Duda and Agatha, I think. Mm-hmm. Clays and Sponsel, I've been kind of one of their biggest critics, but I thought they played well. I thought they played really well. Kerry Walsh and Brooke Sweat. They've only lost twice the entire tournament, and both losses were to the Americans, and both were in the 3rd set. So I'm going to give you the floor since I'm talking all this nonsense before you.
No. You're saying all the right things.
Yeah. You know why? Because we're in the South Bay, and I think there's just a little too much love for USA volleyball and what we are and we're this, we're that. No, you're not. To me, last week, our podcast was entitled, You Are What Your Record Says. Okay? You are what your record says. And I love the access the volleyball players have been giving to me, and some of them, are shy, and that's not some of their thing. And some of them a little, they're in love with their star power, and because I guess they do this one thing better than everybody else. They probably think they're better people, and for those 1 or 2 people, they can go suck a rock. But for the most part, very accessible, very self-honest, and I'm very, very happy to see. I'm a USA guy. I want to brag about my people, but Rob, I got to keep it real. I'm not going to say they're great. I'm not going to say that Taylor's the best defender in the world if he's not. I'm not going to say Phil's still the best player in the world if he's not. I'm not going to say Clays and Sponsel or whatever, or they're the best team in the world if they're not. If you are, I will. And when I say it, it's for real. That's real praise, all right? So your thoughts about how well the USA did in Doha?
So overall, I was very surprised. I mean, there was a lot of teams. I was very happy that Phil and Nick and Jake and Taylor, showed up in the beginning. They did a great job of shutting down the Russians, Taylor and Jake, and then Nick and Phil looked like
beat the Germans.
20. Well, they look like 20. Yeah, they look like a 2015, 2016 type of team where, they're both a bit younger. They're optioning all the time. Nick's ball control is on point, and then I don't know what happened with Phil and Nick, but they hit a wall. And then same thing with Taylor and Jake. You take out the Russians, and maybe it was a big high, but I was very surprised to not see Taylor and Jake Gibb not in the finals, or that just really surprised me. I thought they could take care of Andrew and Guto,
Yeah.
but yeah, honestly, I thought it was a really solid showing for the men, and for the women, I thought it was extremely strong. I not to say I didn't see it, but Kalinsky looked fantastic. Her blocking
Didn't
was
she?
just on point. They as a team were playing really crisp. Again, really big ups and downs, or maybe not as big downs, but big ups, and then some neutral points where they're kind of just letting the game come to them. But yeah, once they start trying to fight first, or be the first person to throw the punch, they're a very good team. They're a very tough team. Thought Brooke and Carey played fantastic. Again, playing well above their level, and just always being there. Always fighting. Even at the last couple points, they've been maybe down 18-20 or 19-17. They're always right there at the end. It's still a toss-up game, so yeah. I thought it was a fantastic showing. And of course, Alex and April just bossing through the whole tournament.
April's still one of the best servers in the tournament.
Yeah, and becoming a really, really solid defender. At her size, it's kind of easy to make one or two steps and be in the right position. So, finally taking heed of her size, and being able to put that in different places in the court. But yeah, I just thought it was a fantastic showing by the American teams of how strong that second tier of teams are. Where if there was another whole year, I would say it's kind of that second team is up for grabs. But just how the points are right now, and
Looks like
that
Carey,
there's
right?
so few tournaments left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as long as certain teams keep, if some teams, if Kelly and Emily start winning tournaments, or Kelly and Sarah start winning tournaments, it might be different. But I just think they're all kind of at that same level, and if the points kind of shake out the same, then it'll probably be Brooke and Carey again. But who knows? We'll see what happens.
I have two questions in regards to the second spot that I ask myself and answer for myself. And everybody listening, you should do this too. One, what does the point situation look like, right? What's reality? And reality is it looks like Carey and Brooke are ahead on points and this and that. And then the second question is, how are they playing? Are they playing like a 2 or a 1? And I'm very happy to say, and me, I don't. I'm sometimes I'm a prisoner of the moment. Sometimes I like people and I say things, but for the sake of the show, my love or affection for someone doesn't affect my critical thinking skills. I like what I saw in Carey and Brooke. I've been one of Brooke's biggest critics, and I always thought about like how, like how Betsy Flint and Carey would have been like a killer team, because Betsy's like the poor man's Misty May in so many ways, as far as that killer instinct is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, but Brooke showed us why, man. We shouldn't be sweating her, And the second team, Trevor and Tri, wasn't even there on points. All right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. Did Phil and Nick get enough points? I guess I gotta read Kim Smith's next article on AVP, because she's been up on that. Read up, people. Kim Smith, great, one of the best writers in the AVP right now. The best writer in volleyball is Travis Muirwitter, but man, she's sharp. She's sharp. Read some of her stuff if you can find her. Still a current player, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. All right. That's it?
Yeah.
All right. They're doing something in Cancun, I think, for 3 weeks too. And everybody's like, oh, I'm going to Mexico. I'm like, man, I'm going to be calling Fuds from home. Fuds is coming up in April. I'm going to be calling that from home. I'm going to steal someone's live stream. I'm going to put a scoreboard and do it like a real gangster shit, So, Speaking of gangster stuff, we are moving on to our next subject matter. And I feel like I'm doing it for its own sake this time around. But Rob, I give to you, and I give to the people, shame or no shame?
Shame. 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 Shame.
Ah, God, I love that,
Shame.
dude. I love that, my man. So, Rob, let's do this. And let's do that. So, Rob, to shame or not to shame? Clippers get blown out over the weekend by the Pelicans in New Orleans. So, shame, bad Clippers, or no shame because it was good Pelicans?
It's so hard. I think I'm gonna go both. I think it was shame because the Clippers, man, they never come out early. They're just always the work, like the latest team that just keeps coming in to the last part of the game. They start coming back, and the Pelicans, man, I got to give them props because they do really good work with the players they have. Same thing with the Hornets; they're a fun team to watch, and I can't wait for them to make the playoffs and start making waves.
Yeah, I gotta go. I mean, normally I would go shame because the Clippers are the best free throw shooting team in the league and the best 3-point shooting team in the league. So they're able to come back and they're able to stop the clock if they have to, okay? But with that being said, there's this level of excitement happening in New Orleans. Watching Williamson, watching all of these former Duke players get after it, almost this college style environment where they care more about the name of the team on the front of their jersey instead of the name of their own name on the back of the jersey. So yeah, I mean, well, I have every reason in the world to go shame on the Clippers, but sometimes you know nobody goes 82-0, and sometimes you have these games where the wheels come off, but the wheels coming off happened because the Pelicans took the wheels off, right?
That's right.
That's like me in an MMA fight. It's like, oh, I would have won if my eye didn't swell up, but my eye swelled up because you punched me in it. Didn't I? I didn't slip on a banana peel. All right, so Rob, topic number 5 is quick question. Quick question. La la. We only got a couple of them because we didn't talk about March Madness, but as this week goes, the first weekend, we're gonna know a whole lot more than we will coming in. There's still some playing games, and Duke is not in it, and Kentucky's not in it, so I'm not happy. But West Virginia, that's the other team I watch. I follow West Virginia, okay. So I'm happy to see them in it. Rob, quick question: Which number one seed has the best chance at winning March Madness? And I'm going to put them up. There's a number one seed for the West, East, South, and Midwest. So between Gonzaga, Michigan. You going Michigan?
Yeah.
I'm going Gonzaga. Quick question. UFC, Derek Brunson. Main events, Kevin Holland.
I mean, yeah, I'll go with my man Kevin Holland. I like him. He's cool. He's rocking.
Gotta go with Holland, man. One of the biggest mouths in the UFC, but man, does he back it up. Quick question. What 2 teams in the NBA East are capable of beating the Nets in the playoffs? Who's capable of derailing their road to the finals?
I mean, 76ers for sure. A healthy 76ers.
Yeah. Who might even be the favorite.
I could say the Bucks, but I think maybe also the Heat. I think that's another team that could shoot out.
I say the Bucks or the Heat as far as styles making matchups and teams being well coached and being prepared and being, a level of unselfishness. It goes up 2 levels when you watch the playoffs. When you watch the playoffs,
man.
Yeah, I know, but stylistically, it's such a bad.
Ben Simmons.
But the Nets are such a nightmare for them head to head, though.
Yeah, it's true, but I think they're long rangey team.
If Simmons had a jump shot, he'd be LeBron. He'd be LeBron.
Yeah,
2.0.
but no, I mean, I'll take a 6'9", 235-pound guy who's going to defend their best guy, and nobody can defend Durant. So if you can do something against Durant, or you can do something against James Harden, that's a recipe for disaster for Brooklyn. And you can only have so many of them out there at a time. You know what I mean? Yes.
But yep. All right. Quick question, Rob. NCAA March Madness. I'm gonna give you a choice of 2 games, which you think could be the more interesting more interesting game to watch. UNC, University of North Carolina versus Wisco. These are eights versus nines. Or Loyola Chicago versus Georgia Tech.
I like Loyola versus Loyola because Loyola sometimes they be putting out a good basketball team. So Georgetown versus Loyola, I'd be interested to see that.
Yo, Loyola Chicago gets none. And when I say none, I mean N-U-N. That's meaning that they get some. That is their de facto mascot. And if they let her in the gym, man, they're going to win this first and possibly even second round. Quick question, Rob. Who's the hotter free agent between these two? Trent Williams or Juju Smith-Schuster?
I mean, probably Juju, but I think it should definitely be Trent Williams because, man, no matter what, even if it's the 3 years, he's going to be more important.
Yeah, I got to go Trent. As much as, and it's crazy because we're not slapping Juju, right? I mean, Juju's important, man, and Juju's fun to watch, entertaining as hell, and takes a hit. A great team player, you know what I'm saying? Has his team's back. One of my favorite things I've seen Juju do was Vontez Burfict. He laid out like Antonio Brown one time, the season before.
Knocked him out of the game. Yeah.
Yep. And the next year, it looked like he was going to hit Antonio Brown again, and Juju laid him out and stood over him. He got the flag for standing over him, but dude, it was money. It was talk about getting your money's worth. It was everybody's like, dude, you a Steeler from now on, because they were like, wow. But that was one of my favorite things I saw Juju do. Not even catch, like block someone, lay Burfict out. All right, so that concludes quick question. And finally, because it's it's Women's History Month, and we're appreciating some of the great women in sports, I'm going to go with, where is she? Let me go. Pat Summitt. Pat Summitt, former Tennessee coach. She is the winningest coach in NCAA Division I, male or female, with 1,098 victories. Coached 38 seasons. She's the Volunteers coach, eventually built the program at Tennessee, and she held a 100% graduation rate. I'm going to say that again. She held a 100% graduation rate for all players who completed their eligibility at Tennessee. 100% graduation rate. You have athletic programs, particularly basketball, where people are more into the sports, than chemistry. And you're graduating more people in your program than you are the general student body who are going there specifically to study and get a degree. That says a lot. That's my woman.
Yeah, mine, I was going to say one, but I think I have another in mind. I'm going to, put a shout out to Maya Moore. She was one of my favorite, one of the basketball players that got me into really appreciating women's basketball when she was back with UConn. 3-time, 4-time national champion. She went on to, play for, I believe it was the Minnesota Lynx for, a couple of years. And now this year she's actually taken a leave of absence from playing basketball to continue her fight on social issues in the community. And, I just want to give her praise that, whether she comes back to basketball or not, I think she probably has a very long career still there for her. But, just have to shout it out because, a lot of people, when this stuff comes up, it comes and goes. And, for some people, it's very meaningful in those. But, there's people with platforms that come out and not only speak, but, do, act in the right way. And so I just wanted to give her props because, not a lot of people can, take a position of power and, just continue to give and give back to their own community. And I think it's just a great thing. So my more big ups, happy Women's Month.
Pretty cool shout out. I really, really like that. And we got one more week to do this, I think, or 2 more weeks to do this. So plenty of women out there that need to be appreciated and respected on a local level. I had one, but I think I might save her for next week, and it's going to surprise her because this woman does not like me. She thinks I don't like her. So, but again, my love or hate from someone should never affect what's real and what's not real. Rob, before we go, is there anything you'd like to say to the people listening?
Just stay happy, stay safe.
Stay happy, stay safe. I'm going to say the same thing. Stay happy, people. Stay safe. For all of you at home, for all of you watching this on your iPad or iPhone, for all of you on the dinner line on the East Coast at Starbucks, or on the lunch line here at, I don't know, let's call it Good Stuff or Brothers Burritos. That's a Rob's joint. Rob loves you, and I think I love you too. And for all of you, I speak for Rob. Keep it McLean. I'm Jason DeBeas. This is episode 57. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. We're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on optionvb.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify.